Good evening. I'm calling this meeting to order. The time is 5:30 p.m. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, I feel like I'm coaching, Chapter 551, this meeting is officially open with a quorum present. I'm going to hand it off to Trustee Needham. Let's see if your mic's working.
It does. Thank you.
You're special.
No, thank you, Ms. President Jackson. This evening, the students from North High Mount Elementary School will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And in just a moment, Principal Myrna Blanchard will then introduce them. But first, let's stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Ms. Blanchard, would you like to introduce your students, please?
Yes, thank you, President Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Scribner. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be here today. Thank you for having us. We have 3 student leaders here representing our wonderful school. We have our student council president, Emily Mendoza.
Hello.
Her mom is also here in the audience, Ms. Diana Mendoza. We have our vice president, Derek Canales, representing. Say hi. And we also have his mom, who's a teacher at North High Mount, Ms. Canales. And then we have our 5th grade class representative. We have Amberly Woodson, joined also by her mom, Amberly Woodson. And we just truly appreciate this time to represent North High Mount, but also want to thank all of our school board members for all of your continued hard work and all of the support that you provide to North High Mount, but to our whole district. So thank you, President Jackson, for having us.
Would all the parents that are with North High Mount please stand too, and we'll give all of you a
Thank you, Ms. Needham.
thank you for coming tonight. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Needham. And now Barbara Griffith from the Communications Department will begin with our mini recognitions.
President Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Scribner, our greeters this evening are from the Air Force JROTC unit at Western Hills High School, where Carrie Flores is the principal. Senior instructor is Colonel Rusk Molesky. Would you all stand? Our parent recognition for this evening is of a volunteer from Springdale Elementary School, Teresita Sierra. Will you please stand? Teresita Sierra has been volunteering at Springdale Elementary for 15 years, and saying she does it all is still an understatement. Mrs. Sierra is on campus first thing in the morning and helps with the breakfast rush. During the day, she not only spends lunch periods helping students with their milk cartons or trash pickup, but she also helps teachers decorate classrooms, making Xerox copies, and in general, being someone they can always count on. She even helps parents after school by picking up students. For that reason, Family Communications Liaison Vanessa Jimenez says, Teresita is a true gem, not just to Springdale Elementary, but to the entire Riverside community. When asked why she gives back, Mrs. Sierra says that the children are her motivation, and she wants to help in any way she can. Mrs. Sierra has 5 children of her own, ranging in age from 5 to 23. Almost all have matriculated through the Fort Worth ISD, including Springdale Elementary. Principal Leanne Moreno proudly states, Mrs. Sierra is such an amazing and kind-hearted person. She gives of herself, her time, resources, and compassion for others so freely. She spends much of her time making Springdale the best it can be, and she asks for nothing in return. Springdale would not be the same without her. She is a true blessing to all of those around her. We love that she is part of our Springdale family. Thank you to Rosita Sierra for all that you do for Springdale Elementary School. And at this time, Family Communications Specialist Jessica Becerro will present her with a certificate of appreciation.
This concludes our scheduled recognitions. We'll take a very short recess so our guests may depart if they so choose. At this time, we'll move into number 4 on our agenda, which are reports and presentations. The 2017 Capital Improvement Program Board Update, the bond. Thank you all for being here. We look forward to hearing this. Dr. Scribner, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. At this time, we'd like to turn it over to Chief of the Capital Improvement Program, Vicki Burris, who will take us through this update and presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Scribner. President Jackson, members of the board, Dr. Scribner. This evening, we'd like to provide the board with an update on our 2017 Capital Improvement Program. If you recall, on November the 7th of 2017, our community approved the largest school bond in Tarrant County history. That bond passed with a 78% voter approval, another Tarrant County record. Dr. Scribner's commitment to the public emphasized improved learning environments, especially in our high schools, that focused on science, technology, engineering, math, and career and technology. Our presentation will include some highlights of those projects, which include modernization to areas such as science labs, libraries, fine art spaces, and athletics. These conceptual drawings that you will see in our presentation are a result of work done in collaboration with students, staff, and campus administration. Some of the work that we're the most proud of creates collaborative study spaces throughout the school, provides natural lighting and writable surfaces, as well as technology upgrades. The 2017 bond consists of 17 large projects that include expansive renovations and additions and 14 smaller projects that we refer to as Quick Start projects. Later on in the presentation, Barry Brock, our program director, will provide more detail as it relates to the procurement and construction schedules. At this time, I'd like to hand it off to Tara, Brian, and Gary so they can walk us through some of the projects.
Good evening. My name is Tara Grenier. I am the design manager for Presidio, and our first project that we are going to be highlighting this evening would be the Dunbar High School. Dunbar High School will be going through an extensive renovation. We will be basically redesigning approximately 95% of that campus, so it will be extensively renovated. The other improvements that will be happening on this campus are significant HVAC and other infrastructure upgrades. This will also include an addition renovation project of the athletic building, which we will cover later on in our presentation. The site plan that you see on your right of the screen here is basically showing the realignment of the content areas as well as how we plan to integrate into the campus more of the CTE classes. The goal of this is to, as I mentioned, to realign the content areas, but also to help students get to their classes much more easily through the circulation pathways, not only classes, but also to the common area spaces. The next few slides highlight some of the campus enhancements to the Dunbar campus, but more importantly, provides overarching examples of how we are addressing all of the campus renovation projects in this bond program. Here we show the new point of entry for Dunbar High School. Up on the upper left, you'll see the existing front entry, and down below you'll see the proposed entryway. This will be a feature at all campuses where we will be looking to provide a new enhanced point of entry, very prominent in nature so that visitors can easily find their way to the front door. Much more collegiate in feel and allows for individual branding by campus, whether through signage and graphics, and then also provides a much more secured entryway for visitors approaching this so that they are more, so that they'll have a true check-in process to get onto the campus. The next shows the proposed cafeteria renovations. Again, this will be happening at all of our high school campuses that we are going to be renovating. The number one goal for this is to allow continued use of the cafeteria spaces beyond the typical dining period so that students and staff can use the space beyond the typical dining period. We want to integrate different seating options so that it's very similar to what you might find on a collegiate campus. So that provides students choice of how they would like to sit at campus, whether they want to sit at small groups, individual seating, booth seating, etc. We also will provide opportunities for plug-in of their smart devices for charging and also for areas if they prefer to study during their lunch hours. We also provide other technology in terms of LCD screens that would be provided in various quadrants of each of the cafeterias, so again can be used for multifunction use. The other thing that we wanted to highlight there real quickly was just the integration of more color into the campuses. That was one of the things that we heard from the students as we did our design charrettes, that they wanted to see more colors and also ways to also brand their campus throughout with their mascots and logos, etc. The next slide shows how we are going to be addressing in some fashion the media centers on all campuses. The media centers will truly be transformed on each campus. The goal is to make these much more active and collaborative zones for learning, to provide students flexible options for seating, not only for project-based learning, collaboration, but for also individual study. There will be new conference/collaboration rooms that are used with lots of transparency to them, so lots of glass. There'll be writable surfaces and technology integrated in those. As you can see, there's low bookcases so that one can come in and see across the open landscape of the media centers. There'll be other features that will be added. Some of the campuses may have the opportunity to do learning staircases. We will also be implementing broadcast rooms as well as technology bars for peer-to-peer help desk. And then last, one of the things we wanted to feature is we wanted to take a look at how the corridors are being used. Right now, they are a means of circulation, but how could we better enhance those and provide better opportunities for students to also collaborate and have zones that they can perch at or sit at during class exchange. So this actually shows where we would provide more of a zone for collaboration versus a perch or a bench, but it provides opportunities and pockets of the content areas where we can integrate potentially writable surfaces, various seating options, but it gives students a place that they can go outside of the classroom for enhanced learning.
Hello, my name is Gary Annenson. I am the construction manager with Presidio, and I'd like to walk you through the Diamond Hill Jarvis High School project. On the left side of your screen, you'll see the existing site plan, and more importantly, we'd like you to focus on the right side of your screen to the proposed site plan, color-coded in 4 separate colors to signify the phasing of this particular project. On the far north of the campus, we will be building a new single-story classroom addition that will house the JROTC program And to the far right corner of your screen, you'll see the additional parking. One common theme on a lot of these high school campuses is that they're underparked. We'd like to address this as soon as possible, and this is why we've included it as a part of Phase 1. Shown in the blue to the left here is a new science classroom wing. It is a 2-story addition that will be attached to the existing facility. It will house all the new science classrooms and is roughly 50,000 square feet. Shown in the purple is the new front entry secure vestibule. As Tara indicated, this is something incredibly important on this bond program and will be addressed at every campus. To the right is a new entrance to the gymnasium, which will house concessions and create an entrance point for that gymnasium. The areas shown in the green are the existing campus. There will be minor renovations in some areas and moderate renovations in others, kind of sporadically throughout the campus. On this slide, in the top left-hand corner, you can see the existing entry at Diamond Hill Jarvis, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see our proposed grand entrance. So we want to do something that'll be a staple on every campus. It'll really signify where everybody, visitor-wise, will come to work through the secured vestibule entry. There's also an external learning stair, and we've also simplified the ramps for those of you who are familiar with this particular campus. What's also exciting about this face of the site is that not only will we have this grand new entrance, but we will also have the new science classroom addition. So the existing site is shown here in this image. There are 4 portable buildings that will be removed and will be replaced with this 2-story, 50,000 square foot addition. We're really excited about the way that this building will sit on the corner of that campus, and then just down to the right of this image will be that new front grand entry. So really this entire campus will be totally revitalized with the addition of the science wing and the front entry. Here's just another image looking at a slightly different angle. The same existing portables which will be removed, and the side of this building, what it might look like from the side. Moving on to the Eastern Hills High School campus. To the left, you'll see the existing site plan. And to the right, you'll see our proposed site plan. The areas that are in a light blue color are the existing campus, and every area in the dark blue color is an addition. So what you see in the top left-hand corner is a new classroom and media center addition. It is a 2-story and 3-story addition. I'll explain that on the next slide that shows you an elevation view. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see our new admin secure vestibule front entry. And on the right side of your screen, you'll see the athletics addition that will be attached to the existing field house. Shown in the top left-hand corner is your existing Eastern Hills front entry, and shown in the bottom right-hand corner is the proposed rendering of what that new entrance may look like. We are very happy with the cantilever system here, the glazing, the natural light, the reworking of the admin area. In this particular area, it's just kind of a placeholder. There'll be some sort of mural or some sort of statement point for the Eastern Hills campus. We're going to work with staff and students to determine what will go best on that particular piece of the project. Shown on the left is the existing staff parking. So what I'd like to point your attention to here is there's an existing exterior exit to the building, and what you'll see is there's actually a grade change. So from down here to this elevation up here is about a little over 5 foot difference. So this building will be 3 foot in height, or 3 stories in height on this particular area of the site, and then it'll actually step up into a 2-story addition which will attach to the existing facility. We're very happy with the turnout of this rendering. The architect's done a great job with the north-facing glazing that brings that natural north-facing light into the building. It's not too hot on the south side of the building. We have our art rooms on the 3rd floor, and we'll have our science classrooms on the 2nd and 1st floor. And this particular area here is actually where the new media center will go, and it's 2 stories and will kind of extend back into this portion of the building. Shown here are interior renderings of what that new proposed media center will look like. You'll see lots of alternative seating. You'll see the low bookshelves with good visuals across the entire media center space. On the top, you'll see kind of that storefront glazing conference room center where the kids can go and collaborate and have an area to go and meet in smaller groups. And then once again, just kind of that flexible furniture.
Brian Johnson, Deputy Program Director for Presidio. We're talking about ODY High School. I'm very proud and excited to discuss ODY since I'm a former high school graduate from ODY. So very excited about this project. If you look at your screen, the existing site plan is on your left-hand side. The proposed site plan is on your right-hand side. And through our programming efforts, we realized that ODY would need an addition on site. So working with Principal Lane, we relocated or located the addition on the northwest side of the campus. We felt like this would be the best site for the the best site for the addition, being on Seminary Drive and Campus Drive. We felt like this addition would be the cornerstone for the community. Also, if you look down the yellow box below the addition, we have portables there. Those portables will be demolished. We put a new parking lot there to cover the parking lot that we were getting rid of, adding the new addition at the top of the campus. Also, we are providing an athletic facility, a 6,000 square foot building, which we'll discuss later in the slides presentation. Next slide is the proposed floor plan for ODY. Again, we're realigning content areas to make it easier for the kids to get to classes. If you look at all the colors, we are renovating 90% of this campus, which is a lot of renovations, and also a lot of HVAC upgrades to the campus. To your left, you're looking at the existing entry of ODY, and to your bottom right, you're looking at the new proposed entry, secure vestibule for ODY High School.
Next, Southwest High School. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see the existing front entrance, and in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the proposed front entry. One thing the architect has done a great job on this project is integrating the school colors into the front entry. So you'll see the blue here and the red here and the structural steel. Just a great opportunity to develop a grand front entrance to this facility. One thing specific to this particular campus was trying to maintain the kind of look and feel of the existing facade of the building. So you'll see these openings that kind of you can peer through and see the existing facility. Although we are putting a lot of these new front secured vestibule entries to the front of these campuses, we also don't want to lose the integrity of the campus. So although there may be a modern front entry, we're going to try to maintain as much of the existing architecture in place where it makes sense.
Good evening. I'm Barry Brock, the Program Director for Presidio. And this project is a very exciting project that had a very major shift in planning. As you probably all know, the original plan was to locate this new facility in a new building on a site that was adjacent to and owned by Tarrant County Community College District. As we were going through the planning and programming process, we realized the original site was about 2.4 acres, which was a tiny little site. And we were trying to cram a square peg in a round hole. So as we went through that project and we began to really look at meeting all the programmatic requirements, it became obvious to us that the right solution and the right thing to do was to go back to the original location. The original location is a little over 10 acres in site and would provide us with a number of enhancements that we would never get at the new site. One is that we wanted to honor the original architecture of the building and to understand and be relevant to the culture of the Stop 6 area. What we plan to do in this project is to add about 27,000 square feet in the area that's located in the blue, and a new front entry to the building, and you'll see an example of what that might look like here in just a few minutes. We also will be removing the portable buildings, and the functions that are accommodated within those portable buildings will be utilized in the new space. You see here a representation of a square that is the competition gym. That's the proposed location as we look at it today. Our preferred location would be at the front of the project, but would require getting some new pieces of property up there. This gym will be a true competition gym. One of the issues with the other site was that it was so small that it was going to be impossible to have a gym of this kind of magnitude. One of the challenges with this project is going to be bringing it into the 21st century learning environment. So it's going to require a major renovation of the existing space. We want to honor the architecture of the building. This building is about a 50-plus-year-old building. It's got unique architecture, but I think you're going to see in just a few moments an example of how we can take this existing building and make it look great. And I'll turn that over to Brian.
To your left, you're looking at the north elevation of Young Men's Leadership Academy. And to your bottom right, we have a conceptual rendering of a project that we did in ISD, South Oak Cliff High School, with a similar scope, similar building, look of a building such as YMLA. The great thing about this is we have the same architect that designed South Oak Cliff on this project. We feel that this building, this front entry, will be similar to what's shown in South Oak Cliff, but, you know, this rendering has given, and this building will be giving hope to the community and provide academic excellence that's already shown at YMLA to reflect this building. So.
The next project that we would like to highlight is the Amon Carter Riverside High School. This site, like many of the other high school campuses, presented a few challenges in that this site is a historical site with limited area for new construction. The architect worked hard to minimize any tree removal, which further limited the location for new construction. The architect has focused on the strong central access that aligns with the neighborhood across from Yucca, that leads up to the campus and transcends through the existing campus into a new centralized courtyard, which is framed by the newest addition, which is the cafeteria building, as well as the new proposed construction, which is approximately 109,000 square feet. This building, with the reorientation of the baseball field, will house CTE, science, fine arts, athletics, JROTC, counseling, and the media center. Additional parking has also been provided, and a new master plan provides a much more improved campus student flow with a more collegiate feel to this campus. The next slide shows a bird's eye aerial of the north and west elevations and shows a glimpse of the courtyard. This three-story building is actually, the three-story building is in the center there. That houses your CTE and science and media center that transcends 3 floors. To the left of that is the new fine arts portion of the building, which is about a 1.5 story because you need the high volume for the band and choir and orchestra rooms. On the back side of this building is the athletics addition, which houses locker and training room facilities. And then JROTC actually is on the front side at the lower corner where Gary's pointing, is where JROTC will be, so that they can also utilize that outdoor courtyard. So the architect tried to use building materials that would complement the existing structure but not take away from its historical significance. This, as you can see, has a large curtain wall of glass. It's shaded with a metal screening that's shown there in kind of the copper color. And again, building material choices were to complement, not to take away from the existing structure. This building is currently in review with the Historical Commission. This also slide here provides a human scale showing kind of that expanded courtyard where we'll have an opportunity to provide additional seating for students from dining and then also for outdoor educational space. This new elementary school 229. This site, as you all know, is located on approximately 5.9 acres located over at Briarhaven Road and Kings Ridge. It will serve approximately 550 students as a relief to the existing Tanglewood campus and will serve grades pre-K through 5. We're really excited about this project because this will be the first elementary school that will highlight the new elementary school education standards. What that means is the district has taken a new approach on the size of the classrooms, so these will be slightly larger classrooms. Also, there'll be integration of those collaboration spaces, and some of those same features that you see at the high school level will be transcended down to the elementary in order to start preparing students for that feel. So it will have a much different feel than the current campuses, elementary school campuses today. The other unique elements here is paying homage to the green space and to the existing prairie. This is the proposed conceptual front entry. The architect would like to try to emulate kind of that same feel that they have over the existing Tanglewood site where they have the park across the street. So kind of providing this nice little area at the front of campus where parents can wait for their students after school and have lots of green space, not only at the front of the campus, but in the back of campus for outdoor learning.
And we're going to discuss and give updates on construction progress of some of our projects. You're looking at Waverly Park Elementary School. To your left is a new floor plan. The scope of work at this campus is to convert the existing cafeteria auditorium into a cafetorium for the campus. As you can see on your right-hand side, on the right side of the presentation, we are starting demolition. We've completed abatement already, and construction is underway.
Next, we'll talk about the Southwest High School new athletic facility. In the top left-hand corner is your new floor plan. And these images to the right were just taken last week. You can see the progress of the contractor. They've mobilized, they've started the clearing and grubbing activities. Also shown in the photo, you can see the staking. The surveyors have been out there. They're prepping the foundations so that they can start the underground utility work.
Benbrook Middle School, High School baseball, softball complex. To your left is a new site plan for the complex. To your right, we've started demolition. This project is heavily going on right now as far as removing dirt and demolition of existing light poles and utilities. We're going forward. Our expected completion date is January of 2020 for this project. OD Wide High School, the OD Wide High School Athletic Addition renovation. To your left is a rendering of the new weight room addition, 6,000 square foot addition. To your right, you'll see we started demolition. I've already completed abatement on this project, and we're starting to grade for the new proposed building.
Next, we'll talk about the Dunbar High School Athletics addition and renovation. To the left is a rendering of the new addition, similar scope of work, a 6,000 square foot addition and renovation of the existing space. All abatements and demolition in the interior of the existing space has been completed. And these are just some of the images showing, and we've just broke ground on the new facility just last week. We'd also like to just talk about the one completed project. We talked about it last time we were here, but the Pascal Athletics building phases 3 and 4, the interior fit out of the field house was completed last year. On the left is just showing an exterior image of kind of the entrance, and on the right, it's a really cool image. This is the first home, the girls' home volleyball game. And you can see by the number of attendees in the stands, it was a great turnout and overall a great facility.
Good evening. My name is Marisol Gomez, and I am the Presidio Historical and Underutilized Business Coordinator. As most of us are aware, our Fort Worth ISD goal for hub utilization is 25%. Presidio is putting all efforts not only to meet this goal, but to exceed it by making our goal 45%. Our vendors are aware of this percentage, especially now that our larger construction manager at-risk projects are out on the streets. We have continued to present quarterly to our Citizens Oversight Committee, and we are very happy to announce that at our last 2 COC meetings, we have presented a percentage over 50% to our COC, which in the design phase, meaning that it mostly includes our architects and professional services, which, as most of us are aware, it's usually very challenging at those services to meet that high of a percentage in hub commitment. So as we have more general contractors coming in with their commitments, we are looking forward to seeing those hub percentages increase. I also want to highlight that it's very amazing to see that out of our 10 quick starts with awarded general contractors, 5 of those GCs are hub, meaning that we have a 50% participation, with 40 of them being hub prime contractors. Lastly, I want to highlight all of our outreach efforts. From the last time that we presented to the board, we have continued to partner and participate with our associations and chambers in the DFW area, not only to let our vendors know about the Fort Worth ISD opportunities, but also to become an important resource to our hub community. We continue to host one-on-one meetings as many as our vendors need. We host a workshop every first Thursday of every month, and we are very excited to see our numbers grow every single month. Our past 2 workshops are March and April. We have hosted over 40 attendees, including vendors that are doing business with Fort Worth ISD, as well as new vendors who are looking into how to do business with the district. We are also very excited to be planning our second bond bid preview that is coming up April 25th. We will be having our owners' representatives, our architects, our awarded general contractors all in the same room. So we are very excited to see a high attendance, and we look forward to updating all of you how our event turns out at our next COC meeting. Thank you.
Just a few quick stats on the program. To date, all the projects are in design. Some are, the Quick Start projects are completed in design, and the others are in the process of DDCDs. 11 of the contracts have been issued to date. We have 8 contracts in process, 5 of which will be on the agenda tonight. There are 6 projects yet to be advertised, 4 of which will be advertised in the next 45 days. 5 projects are in construction, and 1 project is completed. I'd also like to take a minute, if I could, to talk a little bit about an action item that's on your agenda this evening, and that's for the distribution of escalation funds from the escalation budget. As you're aware, the original needs assessment identified about $1.6 billion worth of needs, and with the passing of a $750 million bond program, there were holes within the scope. So over the last year, we have worked with the administration and the campus stakeholders to determine exactly what the needs are and the appropriate scope for the individual campuses. And through this process, we've identified the opportunities for us to utilize these escalation funds to assure that we will have good equity across all the campuses, from the first projects that start to the final projects at the end of the program. All the while keeping in mind that our task was to bring these schools into a 21st century learning environment. We've determined that the utilization of these dollars will ensure that we are able to utilize the monies in the best way possible, so that if the market changes, we will have accommodated those through a planning instead of a hopeful process. By utilizing these dollars and by escalating our schedule for the bond, we hope to be able to shorten this 6-year bond program into something nearing 4 years. So what that effectively does is it provides us with the opportunity to beat the market if the market changes. So hopefully you'll see that this evening and give us permission to go forward with the utilization of those funds. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments?
Trustee Christine Moss.
Thank you, President Jackson. Yes, I have a comment, several. I think you're really doing a great job with the bond program and getting the schools renovated, and I think we're on target. I have a question about the schools. Once we renovate the schools, will there be any funds for the marquees? Because we'll have new schools, and some of the marquees are torn and worn and rusty and need replacing. So will we be looking at any of the marquees?
May I get back to you on that? Because
yes.
we do need to discuss that, because that's something that we've also noticed, and we've noticed that it hasn't been done in previous bond programs. We're not, it's not our decision to make, but we sure do need to look at it.
Oh, I know I got the idea from listening to you. No, I was just kidding, but I did mention. Thank you
Ms. Moss.
for
Appreciate that.
looking into that.
And Ms. Moss, may I add that if you noticed in many of these new entryways, we've created opportunity for an identity to be presented to the school So even though we don't have the marquee, we do have a new face.
Sure, and I am so happy. Thank you.
I have 3 quick questions. One, you mentioned getting ahead of the market. The fastest way to get ahead of the market is to watch pricing on commodities and buy in bulk. Can we do that on paper? HVAC, steel, copper, those kind of things.
You know, over the years, we've tried that in a number of different ways. We've never really enjoyed what you thought we were going to get from the bulk purchase. And part of that is because we have such a diversity of pieces of equipment and machinery within these older schools. We've looked into it, and we will continue to look into it, and as it is appropriate, we would certainly instigate that program.
So with steel and commodity-type materials, that's different than HVAC. So can we buy those type materials, not take delivery, but just purchase them on paper and at a guaranteed price?
It's a little more difficult in a competitive environment with the different contractors. It's very difficult to assign steel because we're through the Seymour project process. We are designing the projects as we go. So I've never tried that, but I'll certainly look into it.
It sounds real easy. I didn't think it was easy. Thank you, though. The second question is following up on Trustee Moss with marquees. I was told the other day that 70,000 cars pass Arlington Heights High School every day. 140,000 eyeballs with just one person driving. It's a great opportunity for us to get our message out. So at least could we look at repairing all marquees or making them all equitably repaired? But some of these places where we have a wonderful opportunity to move forward with our community and partner with them and get a message out, it seems like it's something we ought to look at.
I think we'll look into it, and we'll give the information to Dr. Scribner, and he can distribute that, if that's all right.
That sounds awesome. And the third question is safety. At Eastern Hills High School, we have so many doors. Part of that's due to portables, but part of that's due to an old building. How many doors are we eliminating? Did we work hard on eliminating doors to make these buildings safer? I think the answer is yes, but.
I don't believe that we are actually eliminating doors because you need your doors for egress. However, most of the exterior doors will have some sort of card access on them, and some of them will have cameras that'll be integrated into the campuses so that there'll be enhanced security. The SROs and security staff will be able to view all of those entry points as well. So,
Great, thank you. I do know that we are eliminating some portables, so that would eliminate some
true,
doors.
true.
But anyway, thank you. Trustee Judy Needham.
Thank you, President Moss. This is a wonderful update, and you are to, did I say Ms. Moss, President Moss? Oh, everybody's smiling around. Well, it's still President Jackson, excuse me. The fact that the minority contractors are over 50%, I applaud you, all of you, for working. You get an A+ for your job, and you didn't even use any notes, I noticed. I think we're a model for other cities across the nation that set it at 25 and we're over 50. I didn't have anything else. The fact that you had to do escalation adjustments now, are we still on budget, Barry?
Yes, ma'am. We didn't eliminate any of the contingencies. We just took the fund that was dedicated for escalation and applied it to the schools where it should be in.
That you knew that,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you call them, the short-term projects, what'd you call them?
Quick starts.
Quick starts. A number of those are field houses at various high schools. I don't know how many it is, 8, 9, 10. Will they all be finished by the time of football field season?
I believe currently the completion dates are anywhere from August to the 1st of September. So within that month, they should all be finished.
And have they all almost started?
Yes, ma'am. And now, I will caveat, these are old buildings and sites that we're unfamiliar with, so
Surprise.
there are a lot of surprises. So our current plan and our contractors are dedicated to completing them on time.
That's great. Thank you all very much.
You're welcome.
Trustee Ashley Paz.
I just want to say thank you and commend you for the job that you've been doing on working with the community. I can only speak to my experience in working with you through Carter Riverside, but we're a very outspoken community in Riverside, and you have done a lovely job in working with them, truly bringing them to the table, not just making them feel like they're at the table. You really have brought them to the table, and the results speak for themselves. You've done just a beautiful job with your plan for the school, and keep it up, because this is kind of a new thing for us, so I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. It was a great presentation. Yes, ma'am.
One last thing, you asked about the doors. We wouldn't leave doors that wouldn't be able to close. You know, we're putting the new card readers on them and everything. If a door was in need of repair, no matter where it was on the campus, we would fix those.
No, I understand that. I'm just
Yeah.
concerned about egress, ingress, and
Not
when we can
eliminating any, but
eliminate and make
we'll
schools
make
safer.
sure they all work.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know they'll all work. Thank you. At this time, we'll hear public comment. Please let me remind you that because of restrictions of the Texas Open Meetings Act, board members may not engage in a verbal exchange about a subject that has not been posted. We will listen and we will take notes, but the board is prohibited from responding to any inquiries made during a board meeting on any topic that is not posted on this agenda. However, the board may reply with 1, a statement of specific factual information given in response to the inquiry, 2, recitation of existing policy in response to the inquiry, or 3, direct the person to visit with staff about the issue. While this board listens to concerns of general nature and issues of common and individual concern, the board will not hear complaints about specific individual employees or public officers during the public comment session. Speakers, please refrain from mentioning names during the public comment session. Speakers shall refrain from mentioning the names of individual employees or public officers during your comments. Any employee, parent, or other member of the public is asked to comply with the appropriate grievance policy to have a complaint heard pursuant to the applicable board policy. In accordance with board policy BED local, speakers shall have a 3-minute time limit. We ask that you please observe this rule. Furthermore, a speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another speaker. Delegations of 5 or more shall appoint one person to present their views before the board with the time not to exceed 5 minutes. Our first speaker is Lindsay Singleton, and our second is Jason Amon. Our first speaker is Jason Amon.
Madam President, Dr. Scribner, Honorable Board, my name is Jason Amon. My husband Rodney Wade and I are part of a small but growing army of people who spend many days and most evenings trying to make this world a better place for kids with disabilities. It's why we get up in the morning. It's what keeps us up at night. In pursuit of that goal, I've only ever wanted to be your ally. My undergraduate degree is in economics, and they taught me some things about scarce resources. That degree, by the way, did nothing to prepare me for the Byzantine way that Texas funds public education. There's never enough money, so as your allies, we've been in Austin lobbying for more and smarter funding. I'm thrilled to tell you that House Bill 3581 in particular reverses the injustice that the state pays this district 3 times less to educate our son now that we've gotten him out of the self-contained special ed classroom. But when I come back home, it doesn't always feel like we're allies. Sometimes it feels like a battle. Please understand, this is not about our kids or their educators. It's about the kids whose families lack the resources and privileges to navigate a system where many parents are expected to take what they're offered and be thankful besides. Schools of underfunded kids with disabilities, once identified, they're offered fewer services than they need to thrive. Even those limited resources are not fully implemented. I know this because at the end of the rope, their parents call me. It's hard to be allies when parents have to call an attorney to get their kids the education that they need. When I intervene, it's because I feel that kids are at risk. It's because I see kids withering where they could be blossoming, or because you are doing something that I believe in good faith is a violation of the law. And that is not a threat to sue you. That is me trying really hard to keep you from getting sued. I believe you're all good people working hard for the same things that I am. You may be all over these issues. You may be implementing sweeping changes and working feverishly behind the scenes to correct these problems. If so, then as much as anything else, we have a communications problem. From this side of the dais, it looks like progress is glacial at best. With new leadership, we have an enormous opportunity. Not only that, but the next opportunity isn't going to come around for a long, long time. I came here to speak, and I came here to listen. It is crucial that we have a conversation about special ed that involves parents, but that conversation is not enough. It must be backed up with quantifiable progress, and toward that end, I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Rodney Wade.
Good evening. Thank you, President Jackson, members of the board, Superintendent Scribner. My name is Rodney Wade. I'm a parent of 2 children who attend Daggett Elementary School. I'm president of the Fort Worth ISD Special Education PTA, and I'm also chair of the Fort Worth ISD Special Education Advisory Committee. Last year was a revealing one for special education in Texas. It started with the U.S. Department of Education. I'm sorry? Of course.
I think they can amp you up in the back, too.
I'll lean over a little bit. Last year was a revealing one for special education in Texas. It started with U.S. Department of Education saying that Texas violated the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And now TEA says it'll be June 2020 until Texas is compliant, even though that law has been into effect for almost 45 years. Last week, we found out that Texas may have underspent on special education by $223 million, and it's likely will lose $100 million in federal funding. All of that, and neither the TEA nor the State Board of Education issued any legislative priorities for special education, and none of the bills being seriously considered in Austin will provide significant reform. I know you do not control the legislation in Austin, but it's absurd to believe that the problems at the state level do not impact us here at home. Over the past year, you have heard from me and other parents regarding some of the issues we've experienced. I have also met with the leaders within the district and expressed the same concerns. But for all of my talking, I've seen an unwillingness to take real action. Everyone seems to be waiting for other people to tell them what to do. The administration's waiting until we hire a new special ed director. The district's waiting to see what the state does. The state's waiting to see what the feds do. And while the adults fumble around, the students are still waiting. We've made a lot of progress with special education, and many of the 7,000 students receiving services at this district receive an excellent education, but they should all be receiving an excellent education, and right now they just aren't. I understand that later tonight you will be holding deliberations for an assistant superintendent of special populations. I hope the person you are considering is ready to lead and ready to work with parents and teachers to make meaningful action to make sure that when we speak of all children, we truly mean all children. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. We will now recess and reconvene in the board conference room. In accordance with the open meetings law, the board opened the meeting at 5:30 PM in the boardroom with a quorum present. We recessed open session in the boardroom and are now reconvened at 6:30 PM in open session in the board conference room. As board president, I am making the following statement in accordance with board policy BBFA local. This is a reminder to all board members of the legal conflict of interest requirements and disclosure requirements you may have for matters under consideration on this agenda for this meeting. If required by law, board members shall recuse themselves from all discussion and shall abstain from voting on any matter pertaining to such a disclosure. Are there any questions on consent agenda items this evening? This concludes our discussion of agenda items. No one gets a DVT tonight. You guys can all get up fast and go on.
There has been a buzz around the school that we are having a special visitor today. Clifford's here today at Lily B. Clayton. He came to visit you today and deliver a prize for you because you've been doing such a good job with your reading. He came to see you. Oh my God. Big red dog.
It was Clifford. I've read Clifford books. He's my favorite cartoon.
We participated in the Readers Become Leaders contest, and Lily B came out as the top school.
This week I've read about an hour, 7 minutes, so it's about 3 chapter books.
Were you excited to see Clifford? The students really enjoyed seeing him. We had high fives, cheers, giving him hugs.
I love Clifford the big red dog.
Welcome each of you this evening to the 2019 Fort Worth ISD Campus Teacher of the Year recognition reception. We're here to celebrate excellence in 133 different classrooms.
Fort Worth ISD is fortunate to have teachers of your caliber in our classrooms. We have 5,600 teachers, and you have been identified as our top teachers to our students.
You know that the small things in life, in word or in deed, really do matter, and you take it upon yourself to teach the next generation how important it is to truly care for one another.
Now for a little door prize fun.
It's a Mercedes-Benz for one teacher to drive for the entire summer.
Janae Bean. She's here. Yeah.
Super excited. I can't wait to drive it.
At this time, President Jackson will now announce the 5 finalists for the Fort Worth ISD Elementary Teacher of the Year.
Susan Afflerbach, Western Hills Primary. Kimberly Bennett of Springdale Elementary to join her. Sharon Gantrell of Charles E. Nash, will you join them? Sydney Jones from Worth Heights Elementary. Sarah Milliken from Seminary Hills Elementary. Now for the Secondary Teacher of the Year finalist, Lisa Yana Gita Blow, Eastern Hills High School. Kenyelle Carr from I Am Terrell Academy for STEM and VPA. Dalen Cross, Diamond Hill Jarvis High School. Yvette Mumford, Tabs, Andrea Rogers, Young Women's Leadership Academy.
I extend my congratulations to all of you for receiving this honor representing your campus as transformational teacher leaders. Have a great evening. Thank you very much.
I hope that our district can be one of the leaders, not only in the state, but in the country.
I think a lot of the conversations that we've had in the past, we danced around the issue. And now it's here. Fort Worth is walking the walk now. It's not just talk.
I think it definitely has made me more aware of who I am.
I really feel like it is helping me as a leader to guide myself.
You're better able to understand the world around you.
Things that maybe I could have ignored before, I can't ignore those anymore.
You need to recognize race and what role that race plays in whatever, if you're teaching or you're the principal of a school. We have to look at our systems and say, what role does race play in why we establish whatever we're doing in that manner?
It's an important issue that our superintendent has led the charge.
Just like support must precede accountability, courageous conversations must precede courageous leadership.
I feel like we can start something here with our student body.
And it doesn't just stop right here in the campuses. It is lifelong, it is lasting. It's why it's important that we concentrate on this work.
The leadership is there. We have an entire division dedicated to not only excellence in education, but the equity in bringing that excellence out in our schools and teachers.
Change is constant, and if you're uncomfortable with it, you might be the issue. If you're not on board, then this isn't the place for you.
Equity, not equality, is what we're discussing. That we're mindful that we now know the difference and we know how to define race, ethnicity, culture.
That is what we're fighting for and really advocating for every day. is that equity is a part of every department in this district, that it becomes the culture we live in.
Everyone delivering instruction to all students.
I hope that all of our students feel valued.
In a perfect world, racial equity looks like the fabric of society.
Racial equity in my mind would be that we no longer have to have this conversation.
It wouldn't even be an issue. We wouldn't have to talk about it. It would just be.
Good, how are you doing?
Boys and girls, I have a very, very special person that has come to visit you. His name is Matt Tipp. He is a hardworking, determined rookie driver this year, and we are excited to welcome him to Diamond Hill Elementary.
Some of my amazing, hardworking kids got to meet up with another amazing, hardworking, leader.
When I was in elementary school, my dream always was to become a NASCAR driver.
14 schools participated, over 8,000 students.
Just to see the surprised face of our actual winner of the diecast competition and to see his little eyes. I couldn't even look at him whenever we were reading his story because he didn't know.
I decorated my race car with the United States flag. I wrote speeding to read because if you are speeding with your reading, you are going to read and be a leader.
And what's really cool is this car is actually going to be sold in Walmart, Target, and all across the world. The overall winner was Ivan Herrera.
He's a smart kid, you could tell, and I'm excited for him and his family. That's a really big honor.
I've been thinking which decision should I be choosing, the Texas flag or the United States flag? I wanted one with more detail, so I choose the United States flag.
It's so true, people who work hard and are reading and studying and stuff, they are the leaders of our future, and Ivan got that message for sure, and it looked great.
Fort Worth, where the West begins, was established as an Army outpost in 1849 on the banks of the Trinity River. Now, 170 years later, it's the starting point for our Texas Frontier Force staff ride to two other Texas forts that played a significant role in the exploration and expansion of the American West.
Welcome to Fort Concho. Every building that you see here today is actually an original building. This is a one-of-a-kind, unique place, and it honestly is the most well-preserved fort you will ever see.
Cadets gained greater understanding of how military forts and camps played a part in settling and establishing our country.
All of the limestone walls, they're 2 foot thick. At any given day, Fort Concho would have 450 to 500 soldiers.
We want to help young people come to understand the military experience in the West here. Also want to focus on the Buffalo Soldiers, the 9th and 10th Cavalry, and their contribution to the military history of this country.
The nickname Buffalo Soldier was bestowed on the troops by the Native Americans as a testament to their valor in battle.
Fort Concho had several of these. The Gatling gun, the mountain howitzer, and that big cannon guy is actually called the 3-inch ordnance rifle.
So this is a wonderful, well-rounded collection, Smithsonian quality that Fort Concho now has in its possession. Same thing with uniforms. You have different models and styles of uniforms. 51 greatcoat, 61 greatcoat, 84 greatcoat.
I am really fascinated by how well preserved this place is.
These two buildings here were built by stonemasons out of Fredericksburg. The military said that took way too long and it cost way too much money. So we're going to train some soldiers to do that. So then soldiers learned how to do it. So then after that, everything you see besides this building and this building was built by the soldiers.
Here they saw the hardships that the soldiers faced, and again, the way of life, from their horses to their social life.
Welcome to Fort Davis. Western frontier forts, especially in the Southwest, never had that palisade. There's no need for them because, one, the openness was your defense system, right? You're fighting against Native Americans, especially here in the Southwest. It's primarily against Apache Indians.
Troops deployed here provided protection for overland immigrant travel and merchant caravans. The
performed scientific surveys and served as a deterrent to the tragic struggle of a proud and independent people fighting to retain their culture and lifestyle.
If you don't know your history, you could end up making the same mistakes that someone else made.
The barracks that you're standing in here are of the 10th U.S. Cavalry Troop Age. Okay, so this is an all-African American regiment known as the Buffalo Soldier.
I understood how the soldiers lived back then, how hard it was, and it made me realize that I'm so grateful to be living in this time.
Now what we're going to do, look out big girl, kind of show you what it would have been like to be a cavalry soldier. First thing a cavalry soldier would do, he would have to groom his mount.
I think this is an outstanding exposure for them. They get to see history living. It's not just words on a sheet in a textbook, but it's history brought to life.
Everything that you see on this saddle is basically what the man, the soldier, and the horse is going to need for 2 or 3 days in the field.
Basically, there are two types of telescopes, refractors and reflectors. This white one here on the side is a refractor. Can you see it moving?
What a great telescope!
What we're doing here these couple of days, being on the ground of history that was made and created here, is something that they will remember for the rest of their lives.
To see the cadets, very shy, unsure of themselves, do research before they come here with all the other communities, and to have them stand up firmly and talk about Texas history with confidence and with poise.
If you look at a historical map, one thing that you don't take into consideration is the purpose of the map.
Was kind of their coming out experiences as assertive leaders of the future.
I'm interested in seeing how the physical landscape affects history, but also how we learn about history.
This hike is pretty interesting. It's a bit bumpy. I thought it was going to be different, but it's turning out to be pretty cool.
All three groups coming together, National Park Service, university students, high school students, college professors, collaborated, gives us a greater understanding of our past, leading us into the future.
I want to play soccer. I want to play soccer.
I want to run track. I want to play basketball.
Tennis is my game. I want to be on the swim team.
I want to play football.
I'm going out for volleyball.
I want to be on the golf team.
I like to dance. Who should get a physical?
Any student participating in sports, band, cheerleading, or dance that is required to have a physical from the UIL should come receive a physical.
What will be provided?
We will be providing a very full service and comprehensive physical along with cardiology and ophthalmology. The ophthalmologist will be screening all of our students for their vision, and the cardiologist will be there for athletes who fall out on their physical from a standpoint of their history or from their physical that need further testing.
What does the physical cost?
Everything that we provide is free. The entire exam along with the cardiologist and the ophthalmologist, none of it will anyone be charged for. It's all on a volunteer basis.
Go, go, fight, fight! Where are the physical exams being held?
It is important that the parent and athlete check with their school to see what time they need to be at the school to get on the bus and what time they're scheduled to come to the physicals and to return to their school.
How do I get there?
The kids really only need to get to the physicals through the school bus that will be provided by the school district that will be present at their school to get on. So it is very important that the child come with their coach on their bus and return on their bus to their school to be picked up by the parent.
Why do I need to get a physical each year?
And it's important that every year to make sure that in case your child does have injuries, that they're over those injuries. Two, we always want to screen every year to make sure that if there are any cardiac issues going on with any of our athletes or any other health problems that they might have so that they can perform optimally when they participate in their chosen sport.
What do I do with the medical history form I got at my school?
I think it is extremely important that a parent or legal guardian help the student fill out their form. We cannot perform the physical exam and the medical history review unless the parent has signed the physical form. That student will be turned away from getting a physical for medical legal reasons.
What do boys need to wear?
We would really like the boys to wear shorts and t-shirts and tennis shoes. We don't really like them to have flip-flops. Please leave your caps at home. Please leave your cell phones, your iPods, any type of gaming devices at home.
How about girls?
Girls, we request that they wear shorts and t-shirts, but we also request that they wear a sports bra underneath their t-shirt. And we ask that they also wear tennis shoes and that they leave their gaming and phone devices at home as well.
What if I wear glasses or contacts?
If you wear glasses or contacts, it is imperative that you bring those to the physicals that you attend so that our optometrists can adequately assess your vision.
Oh! Can I see my own doctor instead?
If you have a primary care physician, whether it be a family physician or pediatrician, that you have seen your entire life, that physician knows you the best, and they're going to provide the best physical for you. However, if you do not have your own physician or you haven't seen a physician in 2 to 3 years, this is probably a very good physical for you.
Anything else?
We are honored and we will do the best physical we can do for your child, and we're very happy to participate and partner with Fort Worth ISD on what we consider very cutting-edge mass physicals. And they're free.
I participated in the Vital Link program as an incoming 7th grader, and I pursued the program because I really wanted to gain experience in going to a company and learning what the working world is like.
Welcome to the real estate department here at EECU.
Getting out of the classroom into a business or organization who's a community partner with our district and getting to teach in that environment. It is a great experience.
Well, it first caught my eye because I saw that it could be on my college resume.
I just want to be active in the summer, so they said it was free and you can just go to the school. At first I was like, I don't want to go back to school, like, I want to be on summer break, but they're talking about going to Bass Hall. And I want to perform on the stage, and Bass Hall would help me because there's many people that I could talk to.
We find that Vital Link is a crucial part of that education process, and we love being a part of it. We hope the students get out of it as much as we do. We love having them here and getting to see what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Kids are the future, and so it's always very important to work with kids and to help them learn what it is to be a part of the community.
I always enjoyed my education, and I believe that I should continue it. And I feel like even though it might be summer, I should at least keep on learning.
I first applied because I was looking for something to do during the summertime that was engaging and fun, and I fell in love with the program the first year and keep going back.
It's fun, it's very educational, and you can learn more than you thought you could.
We're so excited to have you here today. And now here at Lockheed Martin, I am on the planning team and helping bring Vital Link students to our company to learn about aerospace and engineering and math and science and technology.
It's always on. There's no flashing lights. There's no radiation.
It's so important for companies and organizations and students and parents, everybody to be a part of this. It's education at its best.
In accordance with the open meetings law, the board opened the meeting at 5:30 p.m. in the boardroom with a quorum present, recessed and reconvened open session in the board conference room, adjourned regular session, convened executive session, adjourned executive session, and now reconvened open session at 6:55 p.m. in this boardroom with a quorum present. Do I have a motion accepting consent agenda items? Moved by trustee Christine Moss. Seconded by? Seconded by trustee Jacinto Ramos. Shall we vote by hand? We've moved on consent. We have a motion by trustee Moss, a second by trustee Ramos. The screen is not working. May we please vote by hand? Yes. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. We've moved to 13B, personnel. Do I have a motion for personnel appointments? Trustee Needham. We are still inoperable. We'll be moving by hand.
Can I move both appointments at the same time? Okay. I move to approve the appointments of Corey Gollum as Assistant Superintendent for Special Populations and Arista Owens McGowan as Executive Director of School and External Partnerships.
Second from trustee Moss. Discussion, Dr. Scribner?
Sure. Thank you very much. Should we vote on it, or do you want to discussion prior?
We'll finish the vote, but I thought you might want to.
No, I'll introduce it. Pending board approval.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Trustee Needham with a motion. Trustee Moss with a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much, President Jackson. At this time, we'd like to introduce two individuals who will be joining our team. We're very excited, one of whom, in fact, is fulfilling her professional duties at her current district. So that speaks well for her as well. But with that, I'll turn it over first to Charlie Carroll, who will speak about Assistant Superintendent of Special Populations. Charlie.
Thank you, Dr. Scribner. The Assistant Superintendent for Special Populations in Fort Worth ISD will be Corey Gollum, who is currently the Director of Special Education in Arlington ISD, where she has served since 2015. She has also worked in Dallas ISD from 1984 to 2015. She has a long, distinguished career working in urban districts with diverse populations. And we are delighted that she will be joining the Fort Worth ISD Academics Division family. Ms. Gollum is in Arlington. She had a commitment this evening, and I will try to get her to meet you so you can put a face with a name as soon as possible.
Thank you. And the second recommendation that was just approved, the Executive Director for School and External Partnerships.
Good evening, Dr. Scribner, President Jackson, members of the board and Fort Worth community. It is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Arista McGowan. Mrs. McGowan will serve as the Executive Director of School and External Partnerships. She will help advance the work related to the System of Great Schools initiatives. Mrs. McGowan comes to us with 20 years of successful school experience. She has served as a teacher, a science teacher, and an associate principal in Duncanville ISD. She has also served as an elementary and high school principal in DeSoto ISD. Mrs. McGowan is a proud alumni of Dunbar High School and spent her entire pre-K to 12th academic career in Fort Worth ISD schools. She is joined tonight by her husband, Carrick McGowan, a school administrator in Everman, and their two sons, Kendall and Carry-On, who one of them is looking forward to going to sleep because he has STAR test tomorrow. But please help me welcome Mr. Arista McGowan.
With no action required on items A, B, C, and D of 14, we're going to move to 14E. Approve second reading revision to Board Policies CJA Local, FFAA Local, and GKE Local. Do I have a motion? Moved by Trustee Robbins, seconded by Trustee Needham. Any Discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please move to voting by hand. And the motion passes unanimously. 14F, approve the budget amendment transferring funds to school construction projects from escalation for the 2017 capital improvement program. Do I have a motion? Moved by trustee Luébanos, seconded by trustee Sutherland. Please move to voting by hand. And the motion passes unanimously. At this time, we will move on to G, which is to consider the level. I'm sorry, we did F. At this time, we'll move on to G, which is considered level 3 grievance of Brandy Pace, and we'll convene in closed session. At this time, Ms. Leaf.
President Jackson, if I may.
Yes.
We've got some special guests, and I was hoping that I may be able to at least recognize during that portion.
Absolutely.
We just, if my colleagues, I believe, I'm sure you're well aware of, we just named a softball field at Diamond Hill Jarvis High School after Coach Elaine West. And like to recognize right here in the room, everyone, give them an applause. We thank you for sticking it out with us. It's been a fairly efficient meeting. Principal Garcia is in the house, and also retired Coach Abernathy, someone who's we think dearly of in the community. Wanted to see if Principal Garcia, you wanted to make the introduction and say some words.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Board President Jackson, Mr. Scribner, Dr. Scribner. Elaine West is the one that started softball at Diamond Hill. She's been there for 29 years. So she retired 2 years ago, my first year there at Diamond Hill. So this is a great honor to have the field named after her. And if she has her parents here too, and some friends, if you want to introduce them.
This is my mom, Nicole Boswell. This is Coach Debbie Barrow. She was one of my assistant coaches. Holly Stringfield. She was in the ad building at Fort Worth ISD several years ago. My work husband. Coach Rob Abernathy. Important people right here.
That's right.
Lady Eagles of Diamond Hill Jarvis High School.
Quick thing, Coach Clardy, the head coach, softball coach right now, is here, and he's the one that started this whole thing to get it named after her, so Coach Clardy. Thank you.
Coach West, thank you for all your years of service. Thank you for what you've done in the Diamond Hill community and Fort Worth Independent School District. Congratulations.
Thank you, Trustee Ramos. Good catch. And we're going to go ahead and move to comments by board members or the superintendent, which is number 15 on the agenda, since we still have people here. Any comments?
Yes, Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos has a comment about Cube. You were named president.
Cube and Mazba.
I was just congratulating him. Come on,
Yes,
Christie.
I'd be happy to point that out. We're very, very excited that the Fort Worth ISD Trustee Ramos has recently been elected not only to the president's role for the MASBA, Mexican American School Board Association, but recently in Philadelphia at the National Association of School Boards, he was recognized and elected as the president of CUBE, which is the Council of Urban Boards of Education, all the large urban districts across the nation. So we're very, very proud to have that leadership here in our district.
Mrs. Moss.
Thank you. I am so proud of Mr. Ramos. When he was elected to Fort Worth ISD, I decided to take him to all of the national meetings And when we were in, I can't remember what state it was, but it was the National Association of School Boards. And at the national, you have the National Caucus of Black School Board members. And also you have the National Mexican American School Board members organizations, and that's what they were called at the time. And I took him, and I didn't attend the Mexican American caucus because they were held at the same time. So I just told him to go and attend and learn all of the people there and get the addresses and all of that information because I had to go to the Black caucus. So he did, and surprised me because he learned all of the national figures. And now Fort Worth ISD is back in the limelight on the national level. I served on CUBE for about 9 years, and that's been 9 years ago. But now he is there, and he will make Fort Worth proud.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Mrs. Moss. I definitely got to thank you, Mrs. Moss, for taking me under your wing, educating me on how school board governance works and taking that to a national level. It is definitely an honor to be in that national seat. I am also now an NSBA voting member and one of a handful in the country, and I'm not bragging because that's a testimony of the training ground that Fort Worth Independent School District Board probably did for me, right? That we learned a great deal here together. Look forward to the work of a team of 10 here and duplicating that at the national level. That's obviously much needed. The hot topic continues to be not only equity, but even more specifically, racial and ethnic equity. And Fort Worth is being looked at for that work. And I know that this administration and the superintendent's board is dead serious about that. So really, really excited for what's happening at that level. I want to thank Dr. Scribner for having been there to support the effort. And my brother from another mother, Mr. Norman Robbins, he and Ms. Pam were also in the house to help us celebrate the deal. So that's a 2-year gig and ready to do some work. Thank you for your support.
Congratulations, Mr. Ramos. And at this time, we are going to move backwards to 14G. And Ms. Leaf, you may approach the podium to give public comment regarding action item G. I remind you to please not use anyone's name. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Scribner and Board of Trustees. I emailed each of you Monday morning. I've not received a response to my request. I had planned on reading that email tonight, and then I was asked not to. So I just want to point out a couple of things. I want to point out first that there is a conflict of interest for the grievance tonight. The grievant and a board member have a personal relationship, and I just wanted to point that out. They're personal friends. I will also point out that the details of this grievance are included in the responsive documents that were submitted at my hearing on January 8th that led to a censure. So I would just like to ask that board member to please recuse herself tonight from the deliberation and decision from tonight. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, we'll move to the back to hear the level 3 grievance of Brandy Pace.
Sounds good. Okay.
We're now convened in open session to consider and take action on the Level 3 grievance of Brandy Pace. The time is 8:03 PM. We're going to lead off with Trustee Cinto Ramos.
Okay. Thank you, President Jackson. This is the kind of day that I'm happy that we have a protocol in place district-wide. Our courageous conversations has given us the protocol with the language and a common vocabulary to be able to have a conversation on how to do this work. And I want to begin with thanking Mrs. Pace for the courage that you've displayed, the unfortunate emotional intelligence you've had to display to feel heard as one person of color. And all the conditions ring through my mind right now. In condition 3 being that of multiple perspectives and monitoring our parameters. You've brought that to life for us as a board tonight in the things that you described, and more importantly and unfortunately, the things that you experienced. So your courage is highly commended for me as one trustee. The other one is you totally exposed and put condition 6, the presence and the role of whiteness, right in front of the board. And it's going to be imperative that this district continue to decentralize whiteness in all the rules, and your description of even how difficult it was for you as someone with social capital to navigate our system and to get to this level. All that I could do is think of how many young people have not been able to navigate, how many countless of other parents and adults and community members have not been able to get to this situation. So with that, I believe that Mrs. Moss and our team, our board, has come up with a statement as we look to bring a resolution to our next board meeting so that we can stand and say this is what we believe. The final piece I want to do before I give that to Mrs. Moss is I've shared with my colleagues that there's a continuum when doing anti-racist work. Not saying that we're not racist is obviously not enough. We have to be anti-racist in the work that we're doing. And so the continuum shows like a mid-range, and that's where an institution gets a gut check. Are we what we say we're about? And I think that this kind of a night, this kind of a situation, and what I anticipate would be a really strong resolution would put us on that second half of the continuum, that we would not revert back, that what we spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of resources isn't just a fad, that it's going to be something real and genuine, because again, as our superintendent has said, is known all over the country, the demographics aren't changing, they have changed. And all we're simply asking is that the system be cognizant of who it's serving and to be mindful of all of our students, and yet also having a real talk about that 89% are children of color that just aren't there just yet. Mrs. Moss?
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Fort Worth ISD, like many urban public school districts, is an institution that was not designed to elevate the voices of parents of color. As the leaders of this organization, today it is our responsibility to address structures within this system that support the marginalization of any parent or student. Any attempt by anyone working within our district to silence, retaliate against, or delegitimize the experience of parents and community members who are engaged in racial equity conversations should be addressed as seriously as any other form of harassment.
Thank you, Trustee Moss. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution language for our next meeting? Moved by Trustee Jacinto Ramos, seconded by Trustee Luebanos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, we'll have a resolution for the next meeting. Please move to voting. And the motion passes unanimously. And on that, we are adjourned.